So, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, yeah, right, there has been a rapid growth of a deadly fungus in the United States that mainly affects those who have a weakened immune system. And I'm going to play this video for you to give you guys a further explanation of this rapidly growing, I'll say, possible pandemic in the United States. Okay, fair use, fair use.
Deadly infection from a fungus is spreading, with the CDC now sounding the alarm tonight, warning people this is serious for older folks, like if you have a parent or a grandparent in a nursing home. Cases of what's called C. auris tripling between 2020 and 2021. And part of what's so concerning here is that it's not easy to treat. This kind of infection is resistant to most drugs.
You hear that? You hear what the news reporter said, that this types of viruses, or not virus, but a fungus, or whatever you want to call it, is resistant to most drugs. Now, to me, I find that to be funny. Well, granted, I am not a medical expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a motherfucker with an opinion. And as a motherfucker with an opinion, who's no medical expert, I'm saying something's fishy about that. Because how could something like this be resistant to most drugs, especially when most drugs are man-made? So if this fungus is resistant to something man-made, in my personal opinion, this quote-unquote fungus has to be man-made too, in my personal opinion. Now, if I'm wrong, someone who is a medical expert has every right to come and correct me. But until then, I'm going to stick to this theory that this is most likely another man-made disease, or quote-unquote fungus, that may possibly start a new pandemic in the United States and around the world. But I'll continue playing this video.
I want to show you how much it's been spreading since 2016, from 4 states then reporting cases to 21 states now. Nobody is in freak out mode yet, to be clear. This is still rare. It's not a threat to folks who are otherwise generally healthy. Dr. John Torres is with me now to break this down. And Dr. John, while it is not like freak out mode yet, there is a concern that this, and I don't want to overstate it here, but the worry that perhaps this could develop into the next MRSA. I think people know that as that sort of drug-resistant infection that you can pick up and that can be pretty scary.
And Hallie, the thing of it is the World Health Organization has said this is a global issue. So not just here in the U.S., but around the globe. And since 2016, we started to see these cases expand and expand. For most of us who are healthy, have intact immune systems, not an issue, because the fungus has a hard time getting into our body. And if it does, our immune system can fight it very well. But for those...
Okay, so currently it's a good thing for people who have a healthy immune system. Because if your immune system is healthy, then currently this fungus will not affect you. But if you're a person who have a weakened immune system due to other health complications, then your chances of being affected by this fungus is great. And you can die, because there have been reported deaths within the past few years of those who were infected by this fungus, right? But my question is this. As of right now, by what we know, is that this fungus called, what is it called? Let me see, what is it called? C something, right? Candida, C. auris or Candida auris, right? How about if this fungus mutates and becomes stronger? Now, I am not a medical expert. I don't know if a fungus can mutate. I know that there are viruses that can mutate. But if funguses are able to mutate, right? The question is, how about if it mutates and becomes stronger and can potentially affect those who have a strong immune system and weaken someone's immune system? You know, that's a very good question. Now, I would love for a person like Dr. Phoenix to make a comment underneath about this situation and my opinions about it, I would love to hear from him. Because once again, I'm no medical expert, but he is. So I'm hoping that he watches this video and put his comments underneath. But anyhow, let me continue playing this video.
Those who are in nursing home, long-term care facilities, if they have invasive procedures done, if they have IV catheters inside, if they're on a ventilator, the fungus can get inside that way, and their immune systems are weak and can't fight it off. And so that is part of the problem there. So what can you do about it as a regular person? Well, number one, stay as healthy as possible. That's the obvious thing to say. But if you have a loved one inside one of these facilities, talk to the facility about their procedures, because this is what we call a nosocomial infection. In other words, a nurse or an aide will get it from one patient and accidentally take it to another patient. And the authors of the study say they think this is happening because during the pandemic, the COVID procedures were essentially different procedures than you needed to keep this clean. And so they're saying there's an issue right there. Hopefully that's being corrected, Hallie.
What's interesting, too, about this fungus is that, according to our reporting, experts think that it originated, or like it came from or got worse because of climate change. Explain that.
Exactly. And the fungus has been around forever, essentially, but it did not really affect humans. It likes cold environments or cool environments. And that's why some of these fungi you can see affect our skin or our toenails, because they're cooler areas of our body. But once this fungus starts being able to adapt to warmer environments, it can get inside our bodies, which are 98.6. And they think the climate warming has caused them to adapt to warmer environments, meaning they can get inside our bodies and manifest themselves that way. And the concern is that this is going to continue and perhaps even worsen as the climate change worsens, Hallie.
God damn. You hear that? So the fungus, according to what this person was saying, at first was just accustomed to living in cold climates. Sorry about that. But then due to quote unquote climate change, that the fungus end up adapting to warmer climates. Therefore, it was able to travel inside of the human body, in which, like he said, the average temperature of the human body is about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, right? But when this fungus was only accustomed to being in cool climates, it could only lay on people's skin or stay on people's skin. But because, once again, according to this theory, that due to climate change, the fungus adapted to warmer climates, thus it is able to go inside of people's bodies and negatively impact those who have a already weakened immune system. But once again, my question is, how about if this fungus continues to adapt and become stronger and have the ability to weaken the immune system of people who have a healthy immune system? Hey, that's a possibility. I'm not saying it will happen, but what I'm saying is it is possible. So that's something to think about. That's something scary, man. Boy, this world's becoming crazier and crazier and crazier. With all these new different diseases, viruses, fungus that's coming out in the woodworks and shit like that. This fungus was not new. It's just that within the past few years, it's just that those who have been infected by it have been rapidly spreading, right? But the information about this virus or about this fungus is new to a large portion of the American population. So we hear this new information about all these different funguses, viruses, diseases that's coming out. It's like, God damn, what in the world are the powers that be trying to do? Because I think this shit is man-made. This shit is man-made. Fuck that shit. I don't believe that it's something natural. I think it's man-made. And I just believe that there is a push to decrease the world population through many different factors. And one of these factors to help decrease the human population through disease. That's my opinion. That's my theory, But what you guys think? As a matter of fact, I'm going to put the link to this article in the video description box underneath, for you guys can read it for yourselves. But I want to know, what do you guys think? This shit is crazy. This new fungus is called Candida Auris or C. auris. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read this article to you guys, right? Bump that. Okay, so this is from Yahoo News. The title is, and that's where you could get the video from. Oh, that's where I played the video in this article. The title is Deadly Fungal Infection Spreading at an Alarming Rate, CDC says. The article was written by Linda Carroll, and it was published on Monday, March 20th, 2023 at 9:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, U.S. And the article starts off by stating this: a drug-resistant and potentially deadly fungus has been spreading rapidly throughout U.S. healthcare facilities, a new government study finds. The fungus, a type of yeast called Candida auris or C. auris, can cause severe illness in people with weakened immune systems. The number of people diagnosed with infections, as well as the number of those who were found through screening to be carrying C. auris, has been rising at an alarming rate since it was first reported in the U.S., researchers from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported Monday. The increases, especially in the most recent years, are really concerning to us, the study's lead author, Dr. Megan Lyman, chief medical officer in the CDC's mycotic disease branch, said in an interview. We've seen increases not just in areas of ongoing transmission, but also in new areas. This is a petri dish of the fungus called C. auris or Candida auris. The CDC's new warning, published in the Annals of Internal Medicine, comes as Mississippi is fighting a growing outbreak of the fungus. Since November, at least 12 people have been infected with C. auris, with 4 potentially associated deaths. Okay, so since November of 2022, at least 12 people in the state of Mississippi was infected with the disease C. auris or Candida auris, with 4 of them possibly dying, right? I'll continue reading. According to the state's health department, Tammy Yates, spokesperson for Mississippi State Department of Health, said in an email, There has been ongoing transmission at 2 long-term care facilities, although cases have been identified at several other facilities in the state. Okay. Unfortunately, multi-drug resistant organisms such as C. auris have become more prevalent among our highest risk individuals, such as residents in long-term care facilities, said Yates. And that's bad, because add that to the fact that a lot of these long, quote unquote, care facilities don't really give a goddamn about their patients like that, as a lot of these facilities not all of them, but a lot of these facilities have had a reputation of abandoning and neglecting their patients. A lot of these quote unquote so-called care facilities have had a history of people or patients dying in these facilities as a result of the quote unquote medical professionals in these facilities being incompetent and or neglectful when it comes to caring these facilities. I know as a fact that one of my family members who was greatly sick and was in one of these care facilities passed away as a result of people within these care facilities being neglectful and incompetent in properly taking care of her. She was not infected with C. auris. She had other healthcare problems. But what I'm trying to say is that due to the neglect and or incompetence of a lot of these so-called health professionals out there in these facilities, that adds more problems when it comes to properly fighting a fungus like this that's spreading these healthcare facilities. Hold on for one moment. All right, I'm back. I'll continue reading the article. The fungus can be found on the skin and throughout the body, according to the CDC. It's not a threat to healthy people, but about 1/3 of people who become sick with C. auris die. In the CDC report, and that's a lot, if 1/3 of a group of people who's been infected with the disease die, that's a problem. But I'll continue reading. In the CDC report, researchers analyzed state and local health department data on people sickened by the fungus from 2016 through December 31st, 2021, as well as those who were colonized, meaning they were not ill but were carrying it on their bodies with the potential of transmitting it to others who might be more vulnerable to it. The number of infections increased by 59% to 756 from 2019 to 2020, and then by an additional 95% to 1,471 in 2021. The researchers also found that the incidence of people not infected with the fungus but colonized by it increased by 21% in 2020 compared to 2019, and by 209% in 2021, with an increase of 4,041 in 2021 compared to 1,310 in 2020. Damn. So that means in 2021, over 4,000 people were carrying this fungus, but they did not get terminally ill with it. That's what colonized mean. But even though they were not ill, even though these, a little bit over 4,000 individuals wasn't ill with the virus, there's a chance that they could transmit that, not the virus, but transmit the fungus. Even though they were not ill with the fungus, but there's a possibility that they could still transmit that fungus to other people. So, and judging by the numbers, this thing is rapidly spreading. Now, if this is not handled with care, if this situation is not being handled with care, it's only going to keep spreading and spreading and spreading more rapidly as time passes by, which is fucked up. But I'll continue reading. The researchers also found that the incidence of people not infected with the fungus, I already read that, C. auris, has now been detected in more than half of U.S. states, the new study found. And these are the states where the fungus is currently found. And it's very high. This fungus is very high in states like California, Nevada, Texas, Florida, Illinois, New York. Goddamn, where there's a high population of people. Hell, even Hawaii has an issue with this fungus. I don't know why I keep calling it a virus. It's a fungus, but hey. I'll continue reading. Most concerning was the increasing numbers of fungus samples resistant to the common treatments for it. Lyman hopes the paper will put C. auris on healthcare providers' radar and spur facilities to practice good infection control. The fact that this medical expert need to tell facilities to practice good infection control when that should be common sense shows you that a lot of them don't, because this person, Lyman, understands that a lot of these facilities, like I said before, can be very incompetent and very neglectful when it comes to taking care of their patients. Because remember, this fungus is really rapidly increasing amongst people in healthcare facilities as they have a bad immune system, in which that's where the fungus can actually enter the body and infect or negatively infect a lot of people. But I'll continue reading. The new findings are worrisome, said Dr. Walid Javaid, or Javaid. Okay, I'll just say Dr. Walid, an epidemiologist and an infectious disease expert and director of infection prevention and control at Mount Sinai downtown in New York, here, Mount Sinai Hospital. But we don't want people, but we don't want people who watch The Last of Us to think we're going to all die, or to think we're all going to die. Dr. Walid said, this is an infection that occurs in extremely ill individuals who are usually sick with a lot of other issues. Even if C. auris moves beyond healthcare facilities and into communities, it's unlikely to become a problem for healthy people who do not have invasive medical devices. Not yet. Not yet. That can possibly be the reality, man. What about if that fungus grows stronger? Once again, I don't know if fungus can mutate, but if funguses do have the ability to mutate, what about if that happens and it mutates to become stronger, and it does negatively impact healthy people? Okay. It's unlikely to become a problem for healthy people who do not have invasive medical devices such as catheters inserted into their blood vessels, Dr. Walid said. The main problem is preventing the fungus from spreading to patients in hospital intensive care units, Walid said. Unfortunately, C. auris can colonize not only people who come in contact with the fungus, but also patient rooms. By its nature, it has an extreme ability to survive on surfaces, he said. It can colonize walls, cables, bedding, chairs. We clean everything with bleach and UV light. Damn. That shit sticks to walls and cables and beds and chairs and shit and furniture. God damn. So you really need to watch out where you sit and where you lay your head at. Shoot. So, yo, listen. Now, hotels need to be aware of this too, since that's the case. Because you got many different people that travel all over the world and sleep in different hotels. They need to be aware of this too. And and just really, really clean every motherfucking nook and cranny of these different hotel rooms. But I'll continue reading. While the fungus was first identified in 2009 in Asia, scientists, let me sit a little closer. Scientists have determined that C. auris first appeared around the world about a decade earlier, after they re-examined older data and discovered instances where C. auris had been mistakenly identified as a different fungus. Dr. Graham Snyder, medical director of infection prevention at University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, said in an interview, "It's the pattern we've observed with these types of pathogens," he said. "Often they start out extremely rare. Then they emerge in more and more places and become widespread. It's important to stop the pathogen so it doesn't spread beyond hospitals and long-term facilities like the drug-resistant bacteria MRSA did, right? Or MRSA did," Snyder said. "It's not unusual to see MRSA or MRSA in the community now," Snyder said. "Will that happen with C. auris? I don't know. That's partly why the CDC is raising the alarm." Yeah, man. So could this be another pandemic? Could it? Possibly. What do you guys think? I'm out of here. Peace.